The White House also weighed in today on an investigation by U.S. intelligence officials into possible Russia connections. This, as CNN has learned that U.S. intelligence officials are examining phone calls between Trump's national security advisor, retired General Michael Flynn, and the Russian ambassador to the United States.
Has the president spoken to any of the intelligence agencies about the investigation into the Russian connections, and will he allow that to go on?
I don't believe he has spoken to anyone specifically about that, and I don't know that he has not made any indication that he would stop an investigation of any sort.
I want to bring in CNN Chief National Security Correspondent Jim Sciutto and Justice Correspondent Evan Perez. Jim, take us through what exactly is being looked at.
So, U.S. investigators tell us, Jake, that they're scrutinizing late December phone calls between Mike Flynn, this is President Trump's national security advisor, and Russia's ambassador to the U.S. This is part of a broader counterintelligence investigation of Russian activities in the U.S., this from law enforcement and intelligence officials. The calls were captured by what is routine U.S. eavesdropping targeting the Russian diplomats. The officials say that some of the content, and this is key, some of the content of those conversations drew enough potential concerns that investigators are still looking into those discussions. The officials all stress that so far there has been no determination of wrongdoing among the communications that are being scrutinized, and these were calls between Russia's ambassador, I should say, Sergei Kislyak, and Flynn in particular on December 29th, the same day that the U.S. announced further sanctions against Russia and expelled 35 Russian diplomats. Jakes, we should know that it was the Wall Street Journal that was first to report that these calls were being investigated at all.
And Evan, why was the U.S. monitoring these calls?
Well, Jake, the calls were heard in the course of monitoring of communications of Russian diplomats. U.S. intelligence agencies routinely capture the communications of senior foreign officials, including those based in the United States. And we know that the FBI and intelligence officials briefed members of the Obama White House team before President Obama left office about the Flynn calls. In a briefing today, Press Secretary Sean Spicer said that there were only two calls, one in December and one 3 days ago, and they discussed routine matters, including setting up a call between Presidents Trump and Putin, as well as cooperation in the fight against ISIS.
The big concern by outgoing Obama White House members was that the calls were about newly imposed sanctions and how they would be lifted, but no evidence for that as of now. And Jim, Spicer was also asked about the Trump administration's response to China building all these man-made artificial islands in the Pacific.
That's right. It's subject of enormous dispute for years between the U.S. and China, and I can guarantee you that ears in Beijing perked up to Sean Spicer's answer on this, particularly the word defend. Have a listen to his comments.
I think areas in the South China Sea that are part of international waters and international activities, I think the U.S. is going to make sure that we protect our interests there. So it's a question of if those islands are in fact in international waters and not part of China proper, then yeah, we're going to make sure that we defend international territories from being taken over by one country.
Big question is, what does defense mean there? To this point, under the Obama administration, the way the U.S. has expressed that these are international waters is basically they've flown their planes and they've sailed their ships through there and say these are international waters, we're going to treat them as such even though China claims them. Defend implies you could take them as the possibility, at least laying out the possibility of military action. It's not clear that that's what he was saying, but that's certainly something that the Chinese are going to want clarity on, because this is also land that China has said, we believe it's ours historically, and we will defend. If both sides hold to those positions, chance for escalation.
The Trump White House making it very clear that they're going to have a more aggressive posture.